Imagine this. You wake up on the 3rd of the month. You make your coffee. You sit down and check your bank account, just like you do every month. And your Social Security payment is not there. Or it is there, but it is cut in half. You stare at the screen. You check again. You think maybe it is a glitch. Maybe the bank made a mistake. But deep down, a cold fear starts to set in. What happened to my money? How am I going to pay my bills this month? If that scenario terrifies you, it should, because right now, millions of Social Security recipients are at risk of losing up to half of their monthly check, and most of them have no idea it is coming. My name is Artur. I am a senior policy analyst and retirement finance expert, and today I'm going to walk you through one of the most dangerous and misunderstood rules in the entire Social Security system. It is called the 30-day overpayment notice rule, and if you receive an overpayment letter from SSA, the Social Security Administration, and you do not take one specific action within 30 days, they will automatically start taking up to 50% of your monthly check, every single month, until the debt is fully recovered. I'm going to explain exactly what this rule is, why it catches so many seniors completely off guard, and the 3 steps you must take to protect yourself. Now here is something very important. Stay with me until the end, because I am going to reveal the single most common mistake seniors make when they get this letter. It is a mistake that looks completely logical. It seems like the right thing to do, but it is costing people hundreds of dollars every month. Do not go anywhere. Let me tell you about a man named Robert. Robert is 67 years old. He retired 2 years ago after working 38 years as a school maintenance supervisor in Ohio. He is a careful man, responsible. He reads his mail. He pays his bills on time. He is not the kind of person who ignores important letters. Last spring, Robert received an envelope from the Social Security Administration. Inside was a letter stating that SSA had determined he was overpaid several years ago, when he briefly worked part-time after first applying for benefits. He had reported the income at the time, or so he thought, but SSA's records showed a discrepancy. They said he owed over $4,000. Robert was frustrated. He was confused. But he was not panicked, because at the bottom of the letter, he saw a line that said he had 60 days to appeal. Days. He had plenty of time. So Robert did what many of us would do. He called his daughter. He talked to a neighbor who had dealt with SSA before. He spent 2 weeks gathering his old pay stubs and tax records. He was going to build a solid case before filing anything. On day 45, Robert finally sat down to write his appeal. That same week, his Social Security direct deposit arrived, and it was cut nearly in half. Robert was devastated. He thought he had time. He thought the 60-day window protected him. Nobody told him about the 30-day rule. Nobody told him that by waiting past day 30, he had already lost his right to pause the collection process. Robert's story is not unique. It is happening right now, to seniors across this country. And the reason it keeps happening is that there are 2 different deadlines in that overpayment letter, and most people only see one of them, explaining the rule. Let me break this down clearly and simply, because this is the most important part of this video. When SSA determines you have been overpaid for any reason, they send you an overpayment notice by mail. From the date of that letter, the clock starts ticking. Here is what SSA policy says. They will wait at least 30 days after sending the notice before they start collecting the money. That sounds reasonable. That sounds like you have a month to figure things out. But here is the part almost nobody reads carefully. If you do not pay the full amount back within 30 days, or if you do not file an appeal or a waiver request within 30 days, SSA will automatically start withholding money from your benefit check. And as of the most recent SSA policy update from April 25, 2025, that default withholding rate is 50% of your monthly Title II benefit for retirement, survivor, family, and SSDI beneficiaries, 50%. Think about what that means in real numbers. The average Social Security retirement payment in 2025 is about $1,776 per month. 50% of that is roughly $988 gone every month, taken directly out of your check, until that debt is fully repaid. If the overpayment amount is $4,000, that could mean 4 to 5 months of half payments before you see your full check again. And if the overpayment is larger, which many of them are, it could go on for much longer. Now, I want to be precise with you because I believe you deserve accuracy, not fear tactics. In March 2025, SSA briefly reinstated 100% withholding, meaning they were taking the entire monthly check. That policy lasted about 4 weeks. As of April 25, 2025, SSA reduced that rate back down to 50%. So right now, for new notices issued after April 25, 2025, the default is 50%, not 100. But historically, the full check was taken, and 50% is still devastating for anyone living on a fixed income. Now here is the critical piece, the thing that could save you hundreds of dollars. There is a protective pause built into this rule. If you file an appeal or a waiver request within those first 30 days, SSA is required to stop collection until they make a decision on your case. That is your window of protection. 30 days, not 60. Not whenever you get around to it. 30 days. Now let me explain the trap, because this is the part Robert missed, and it is the part that most seniors miss. When you read that overpayment letter, you will see 2 different time frames mentioned. You have 30 days before withholding begins, and you have 60 days to file a formal appeal. Most people focus on the 60-day deadline. It is printed clearly. It sounds like the main deadline. So they think, I have 2 months to respond. I will gather my documents. I will be thorough. But those 2 deadlines do completely different things. The 60-day window is your legal deadline for filing an appeal to challenge whether the overpayment is valid at all. The 30-day window is your protection against having your check cut while SSA reviews your case. If you file your appeal on day 45, which is perfectly legal, you are still within the 60-day appeal window. Your appeal is valid, but SSA is no longer required to pause collection. They may have already withheld money from 1 or 2 of your checks, and getting that money back quickly is not guaranteed. Here is another trap. Some seniors receive these letters and assume it is a scam. They think, I never got overpaid. This must be fraud. Someone is trying to trick me. So they throw the letter away or ignore it. Do not do that. Even if the notice is wrong, even if SSA made a mistake, silence is treated as consent. On day 31, the withholding begins regardless of whether you think the overpayment is real. And one more trap that I see constantly. Seniors call SSA on the phone. They explain the situation. The representative seems helpful. They feel like they have handled it. A phone call does not stop the 30-day clock. SSA requires a written form. A phone conversation, no matter how thorough, does not count as a formal appeal or waiver request. The collection process will still begin on day 31 unless a written form is submitted. Your 3 exact steps. So what do you do if you receive one of these letters? Here are your 3 exact steps. Step 1. Read the letter immediately and identify the 30-day date. When the letter arrives, do not set it aside. Open it that day. Look for the date the notice was sent. Count forward 30 days on a calendar. Write that date down somewhere visible. That is your action deadline, not the 60-day appeal date. Your window to pause collection is 30 days. Step 2. Decide which form to file, and file it in writing within 30 days. You have 2 main options. Option A. If you believe the overpayment is wrong or you dispute the amount. File form SSA 561U2. This is called a request for reconsideration. It tells SSA you are challenging whether this debt is valid. Filing this within 30 days pauses collection until SSA reviews your case. Option B. If you accept that the overpayment happened but you cannot afford to repay it right now, or you believe repayment would cause serious financial hardship. File form SSA 632BK. This is called a request for waiver of overpayment. You are asking SSA to forgive the debt or reduce what you owe. There is no strict deadline on the waiver form, but filing it within 30 days still activates the collection pause. There is also a third option. If you agree you owe the money but 50% withholding would leave you unable to pay rent or buy food, you can file Form SSA 634, which requests a lower monthly repayment rate based on your financial situation. All three of these forms can be found at ssa.gov. You can submit them through your My Social Security online account. You can fax them, mail them, or hand deliver them to your local SSA field office. Do not just call. Submit a written form. Step 3. Keep copies of everything and follow up in writing. Once you submit your form, keep a copy for your records. If you mail it, use certified mail so you have proof of the date it was sent. If you hand deliver it, ask for a receipt or confirmation. Then, follow up with SSA within 2 weeks to confirm they received your submission. Also, and this is important, check your benefit payments closely in the weeks after filing. If withholding begins anyway, contact SSA immediately in writing and reference your filed form with the date of submission. Documentation is your protection. I want to give you a brief but important picture of why this matters so much right now. The SSA's own Inspector General reported approximately $71.8 billion in improper payments between the years 2015 and 2022. As of 2024, SSA had recovered $4.9 billion, but $10.3 billion in overpayment debt was still outstanding. That means SSA is actively pursuing repayment from a very large number of beneficiaries. And as they work through that backlog, more and more overpayment notices are going out. Many of these notices involve events from years ago, a change in income, a change in marital status, a brief return to work, things that happened long before the senior even understood the reporting requirements. Some of these debts are legitimate, some are errors on SSA's part, but under current law, SSA is required to recover overpayments, and they will do so automatically unless you take action. There is some good news embedded in recent policy changes. As of March 2024, SSA shifted the burden of proof. The agency, not you, must now prove that an overpayment was your fault before that fault determination is used against you. Before that reform, the burden was on the senior to prove they were not responsible. But, and this is the key, that protection only activates if you actually file the waiver form. If you stay silent, none of these protections apply to you. The system has safeguards built in. But those safeguards require you to show up in writing within 30 days. I want to end with something important. If you or someone you love receives an overpayment letter from Social Security, do not panic, but do act immediately. You are not powerless in this situation. SSA has real protections built in for people who respond within that 30-day window. Extended repayment plans of up to 5 years. Waiver options for those facing financial hardship. The right to challenge the amount or the debt entirely. But those protections only work if you use them. And you have to use them in writing. Within 30 days. Now I need to say something to you directly. Do not rely on YouTube notifications to stay protected. Algorithms change. Videos get buried. You might not see this information again at the moment you need it most. Here is what I want you to do right now. Subscribe to this channel, Senior Pension and Benefits Hub, and click the bell so you get every update. But more importantly, write down these 3 forms right now. SSA 561U2 for appeals. SSA 632BK for waiver requests. SSA 634 for reduced repayment plans. Screenshot this video. Share it with your spouse, your adult children, your friends at church, or at the senior center. This information could save someone thousands of dollars. And if you are already dealing with an overpayment notice, go to ssa.gov right now and navigate to the Resolve and Overpayment section. Do not wait until tomorrow. The 30-day clock does not wait for anyone. I am Artur. Thank you for watching Senior Pension and Benefits Hub. Stay informed, stay protected, and I will see you in the next video.